Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be making a pumpkin tortilla or flatbread, and I'm going to be combining that or coupling it with a pumpkin zucchini salsa. And I'll be using an orange pumpkin, a white pumpkin, zucchini, red onion, and a jalapeno. So let me get everything set up and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I'm almost done with this here. This jalapeno comes from my very own garden. I wish the pumpkin had come from my own garden, but something occurred with some bugs and they ate all the blossoms and whatnot, and so the pumpkins did not grow. So I'll just have to do better for next season, and hopefully I'll be able to have pumpkins by then. Okay, so I have my pumpkin in the microwave in some water, getting slightly softened, and I have my flour mixture here for my tortillas or flatbread. And so what I essentially want to do with this is just add pumpkin and oil to let that be my only liquid. Let's see. So let's go in with make it an even 80. Up. I guess 85. There we go. Even 85. And we get the oil. Let's see, let's do about 15. Now let's make that 25 ml of oil, and give this a stir. And as always, you guys know all the ingredients will be listed in the description below. pumpkin into the flour to mix it all together. Gather all of this together. Oh, excuse me. Don't want to play with this too much. So that's what it's looking like so far. I'm going to wrap this in some plastic wrap. Well, actually, I'm going to put it in a plastic bag. Okay. So I'm going to let this rest. In the meantime, let's get back to that pumpkin and zucchini salsa. I didn't want the pumpkin too soft, but just firm enough because I'm gonna cut it in to bite-sized pieces, pretty much dicing it. And what I forgot to mention is that this is going to be actually a warm salsa because I'm going to cook this a little bit more. Actually, I don't have to cook the pumpkin anymore. But I do want to saute my zucchini and onions and the jalapenos a little bit. I feel if I cook the pumpkin any more than this, it's going to be far too mushy. And I don't want that. Let's see, the white pumpkin was a little bit more thicker or meatier. Although it's not meat, but just to express the thickness of it. So I'm not going to use quite as much of that. I'm just using it for a contrast of color. But no worries. If you guys don't have the white pumpkins where you are, you can possibly use the spaghetti squash or the butternut squash. Okay. Okay, I have a little bit of oil in the pan here. Just waiting for it to get a little bit hot. Now, for some, if you guys want to attempt to make this a little bit sweet, I mean, you can experiment with that. I don't know if that'll be similar to having like a mango salsa or not, but just throwing ideas out there. In case you want to be on the wild side. And see if mango would go good with this, or even if a little bit of pineapple might go with it. Don't get me wrong, I know that pineapple is really not low carb, but then again, it depends on where you are in your weight loss journey. Now, as far as low carb go, there is the induction of the carbs, or reduction, which is the same thing as induction of carbs that you're taking in. And then there's the ongoing weight loss. Then you enter into pre-maintenance, and then finally maintenance, and which is the basic stages of following the Atkins. So if you're at pre-maintenance, then you're able to add in carbs back to your diet because you've already achieved your weight loss goal, or you're very close to your weight loss goal, and thereby you don't need to constantly stay at the level of ketosis that you were to be constantly losing weight. Because a lot of people, they were like, okay, what do I do now that I've lost all the weight? What do I do? Well, now you've entered pre-maintenance. You have to start adding certain carbs. One moment, please. Okay, so you have to start adding certain carbs back into your diet. You're not going to add them in rapidly, because you don't know how they'll affect your body since you've been without them for so long, certain ones. So start with lower carbs. I would say, like, if you're going to incorporate rice. Now, most of the time, you know, you have to have at least a quarter cup of rice, what they want you to have. So I would say half that. if you're going back to regular bread, one slice or a half a slice. So build up and make sure you watch what you eat for that week. You don't want to be eating a new carb every day. And so even with the rice and the bread, you only need that half slice of bread twice a week. You only need that rice twice a week, if that makes sense. You don't want to add all of that stuff back in. Same with whatever vegetables that wasn't allowed on low carb. If you love that particular vegetable but it's high carbs, then eat less of it. Whatever the serving size is, half it down to that size. Okay, let me get the pumpkin. That's a pretty contrast of colors. Here we go. I fried one little batch, and this is what it's looking like. My little pumpkin chips. Now, it's hard to peel it off of the paper once it's rolled out, so I just turn it side down and let it fry that way. I'll just let those fry. Didn't mean to flip that over, but anyway, I'll let that as is. I'm not frying these at a high temperature. It's about medium low because I don't want them to burn. And to me, they have a good taste. But I could have used possibly a little bit more salt, but then I haven't salted the salsa, so I may be able to compensate that when I put the salt in the salsa. And the chips are not as, they're not crisp. And that's probably because I left them a little thicker than normal. Maybe if I roll them thinner, they'll become more crisp. And then maybe these will become crisp because the first batch, I think the oil was a little bit too hot. And so it cooked too rapidly. So I have adjusted the fire and I'm able to cook these a little bit longer. So once I let them sit on the rack, maybe they will be more crisp than the others. So basically what I'm doing is letting it cook for about 45 seconds to 1 minute on each side and then flipping it. I think this is like my third time flipping them over. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so I rolled this one a little thinner. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I just put them over, and with this one, you know, I spreaded it out more, and I actually cut it into 8 instead of 4. Still cooking it at that same temperature. Except for it's a lot more to have to flip over in this little skillet. Okay. I still have 3 more to go. I'll do these off camera and I'll be back with the final plating. Okay, I fried all the chips and I want to give it a taste before I add any salt, just to see how it is without the salt. not bad, but that salt is required. Oh, not necessarily. If some of you find that you like it without the salt, then leave the salt off. Okay. Well, let's see. What happens with a little bit of, let's get some of that jalapeno. Maybe I should have put more. I like this. I like it a lot. Now, I don't know if it's the yellow pumpkin or orange or the white pumpkin. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness from one of those. And it's a nice contrast to the salt. And I don't know if maybe the salt brought out the sweetness from the pumpkin, because I didn't taste that before I put the salt on. So I'm not really sure. You guys, I have to give it a try and leave me a comment. Okay, now, as for the chips, I was thinking of saying like there was tortillas, but they're not. We'll just say that they're flatbread, fried flatbread, or bread chips, or just chips. I don't know. But it's close to pita bread without being crisp. And if not more like a pita bread, then more like a fried crust, a fried pie crust. So thereby not being crisp or crunchy, but it's definitely firm. And some of them do have a little crunch to it, but not exactly crisp like a chip, if that makes sense. But all in all, the combination of the pumpkin, the zucchini, the onion, the jalapeno on a pumpkin hold on, lost my words. I guess, what is it? It's not a pumpkin crisp. Pumpkin, no, it's not a cracker. Flatbread, pumpkin flatbread. We'll go with that. So we have a pumpkin salsa, and we have pumpkin chips, and they pair very well together. It's something different, something new, at least for me. And I hope you guys give this a try. Hold on a minute. Okay. That's a lot better. Give you guys a little bit of a close-up there. Alright, so there you have it. We have pumpkin chips and a pumpkin salsa. Everything pairs well. You can taste, like I said, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of heat from the jalapenos, depending on how much jalapeno you actually put in there. If you're going to use just the amount that I specify, then you really won't taste any heat. But if you double it, then yes, you will definitely taste the heat that's in there. The salt is optional. You can add that on the squash if you want to. It's totally up to you. So with that said, I hope you guys give this a try. Remember, stay positive, stay focused, stay strong. I'm so sorry, I'm messing up my own mantra. Remember to stay strong, stay positive, stay focused, and as always, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.